again, everybody. I'm Bob Sherman, hoping you had a grand Thanksgiving. But December seems to have crept in while we weren't looking. And our first Downtown December show is at hand right now. Recalling a concert at Grace Church. Remember real live concerts we used to go to? Anyway, at that time, a superb young pianist, Youlan Ji, winner of the 2018 New York International Piano Competition, played Mozart's delectable Piano Concerto No. 9 with the chamber players of the Downtown Sinfonietta. That is quite an outfit, by the way. Its members drawn from the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra. At any rate, at a special virtual bonus, our own Timothy Lewis will add a short post-performance conversation with Melvin, Stecher, and Norman Horowitz, the organizers of the competition. There is, though, a deeply poignant subtext here. Vincent Leonti, founder and often conductor of the Sinfonietta, died this past April, one of the early victims of COVID-19. We will have a more significant tribute to this warm and gentle man later on, but seeing him in the viola chair brings back a host of grateful memories. Enjoy, and I'll add a closing word in about an hour.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. It's always so good to see you. With me are Melvin Stecher and Norman Horowitz, the two masterminds behind the New York International Piano Competition and also the Stecher and Horowitz Foundation. And it's through their wonderful and gracious hospitality that we've been able to bring downtown music audiences, these terrific pianists, for many years now. And this concert with Youlan Ji, which we just watched, was absolutely spectacular. And I think she was 19 years old when she came to us last year. And is it Juilliard? So, which makes her, I guess, 20 now. And is she still at Juilliard?
Yes. She's in her undergraduate program.
Wow. You know, everyone plays at such a high level. For some reason, assume they're all graduate students or doctoral students, and they're not. They're really just starting out on these wonderful careers, which you are helping to make possible. So it's terrific. You know, the other person who looms large in the video is our old friend Vince Leonti, and I'm still missing him intensely, and I think you are as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and for those who do not know, Vince was one of the people who had a very difficult time and passed away with the first round of the COVID pandemic last spring. And I found it really almost inconceivable that I'm planning this series this year without Vince, because we collaborated on this and put it together by consulting with each other for almost 30 years. And part of that consulting involved getting to know the two of you. And I think probably 15 years ago, at least it was 2006 or so, we first did something.
That's correct. It was in 2006 that we appeared with Vince for the first time, and we had two pianists, Charlie Albright and Larry Wang, who were winners that year, and they did the Carnival of the Animals and the Mozart Piano Concerto with Vince.
Yeah.
And then after that, we started on a regular basis in 2010, and we did about 14 or 15 concerts with Vince. And all we can just say about him is he was just so enthusiastic and caring about young artists, and he made them feel just marvelous. So we just love him and think about him all the time.
Yeah. And you know, that enthusiasm, I think, is something that I was so grateful for in my life as well. And I could pick up the phone and he would be there and just sort of cheering me on or cheering on the series and having this project or that project he wanted to get involved with. And I know that the great thing about him too was that he really just loved working with young artists and helping bring along their career. And his association with the Met Orchestra led to some interesting rehearsal times, I think, for you and your pianists in the city.
Absolutely. We would rehearse with him on a Saturday afternoon in between his performances. He might have had just come out of a matinee and getting ready for an evening performance. He was in his tuxedo.
And we would about 5:30 in the afternoon.
And we would go into one of the big rehearsal rooms where we would pass some of the opera singers who were going to be singing that night. And there was always a fine piano down there, a concert grand. And the artist would just start playing, and he would sit in a chair and conduct and say, "Oh, beautiful. Can you just do this a little bit or do that a little bit?" And it was so gentle, and it worked out always so beautifully. And the young people were so thrilled to be down in the depths of the Metropolitan. And at times, let's say if we were finished a few minutes before the performance, he would say, "Let me show you the stage." And they'd come out on stage right at the Met with all the sets there and just stare into the audience, who it was all empty seats at the time. And they were thrilled to death. It was really very, very exciting. And then many times Melvin and I went to the Met performances, and we had very close seats to the orchestra. And we would walk down during intermission and speak with Vince. And he was always so professional in his garb, sitting in his seat at the Met Orchestra. And the transformation from performer that he was and to the conductor that he became with you and to the sort of mentor he was to these young people, made him really the consummate musician. He was a dream, an absolute dream.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And he really, the way he had of putting people at ease who were working with him. I know when I played recitals with him, when your prize winners played recitals with him, if there was even the slightest bit of tension, he just knew how to sort of diffuse that and get the absolute best out of people. It's a true gift. I've really not seen that in many other musicians.
That's true. There was, as you said, there was very little tension, except this last performance that we did with him with Youlan Ji.
Oh,
Actually, what had happened is we told Youlan which concerto to prepare. And somehow, this is the first time it ever happened, there was a miscommunication. And Vince thought the concerto was going to be number 9 in E flat major. And Youlan prepared number 19 in F major. Well, she sat down at Grace Church, and Vince
During the rehearsal.
And Vince had his down bow, and they began the first tutti, and after one note that they all played, one chord, Youlan jumped up from the piano bench. She said, "This is the wrong, I'm not playing this concerto, it's a different concerto." And we all got panicky there.
This is 1 hour before the concert was to begin.
And the first violinist, he happened to have the concerto parts for the string quintet in his cell phone. He gave Norman the cell phone. Norman went upstairs to the second floor of the church, and we had the secretary there.
Ran off all the parts. When they started the first movement, I was upstairs getting all the parts for the second movement. When they started the second movement, I was upstairs getting all the parts for the third movement. By the time I came down, the audience was coming in.
And they didn't have much time for rehearsal, very, very short rehearsal. But the musicians were so great. They were absolutely great.
And Youlan knew the concerto backwards, forwards, and inside out. I mean, she'd played it many, many times.
And then finally...
And it was just a phenomenal collaboration. It couldn't have been better.
And he began the concerto. And Norman and I, of course, were sitting there on pins and needles, but it went extremely well. But that was an experience we will never, ever forget.
No, nor will I. And it was just so extraordinary. And as you say, that the finest possible result came out of all of this, because they were all so professional and so charming. And I think the great thing too is that she had a second performance down in the city at the Lotus Club, I believe, yes, of the same concerto.
It was actually at the University Club.
University Club, yeah.
Right. We had our big gala, and we asked Vince if he would bring musicians again. So he played during the cocktail hour with them Viennese waltzes, and then during the dinner she performed the Mozart Concerto, and it was just great.
Well, I am delighted that this story came out of that, and also for all those 14, 15 years of wonderful collaborations with Vince, and for Youlan and all of the musicians you bring to us. It just could not be a more wonderful partnership. So thank you both.
It's always our pleasure.
And we thank you for making the partnership with Vince possible. It was a highlight.
That's absolutely my pleasure. And I guess maybe we'll close today, gentlemen, if you don't mind, by talking a little bit about who's coming up next week to us. And then we'll talk a little bit about when you are coming back with other prize winners of the competition. But we'll begin by saying that next Wednesday, the 9th, Kimberly Hawkey will be with us. And she's an extraordinary cabaret singer who has appeared at Caramore and Birdland, all over the place, but her main thing is almost time travel through music. And she's going to do a Home for the Holidays program for us, featuring big band and swing music from the 1930s and 40s. And if we're really lucky, she's even going to dress up in period attire to do that. So join us back here next Wednesday, December 9th, for a premiere on YouTube at 12:15 p.m. And then going ahead, we look into the new year, and I think we are going to be able to feature prize winners of the New York International Piano Competition a couple of more times in the spring. And we are looking forward to that as well. So Melvin, Norman, I will be in touch going ahead, and we will no doubt tell members of our audience who we will be featuring, and look forward to, I hope, another conversation with you at that time.
It's wonderful. May I take the opportunity to wish all those who come to the concerts and even those who just even listen a very healthy Thanksgiving, and one as we approach the Christmas season as well. We have to pray for everyone's health and that we can make it so that everyone then can receive the vaccine and we'll be together once again.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for that sentiment, and I couldn't second it more. So always good to be with you, and we will look forward to being together soon.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We'll join you next week. Bye-bye.
Isn't that marvelous, Mozart? Youlan Ji sparkling as the soloist with the Downtown Sinfonietta Chamber Players. Among them, the late Vincent Leonti. We even had a bonus conversation. Tim Lewis chatting with the Messrs. Stecher and Horowitz, co-founders of the New York International Piano Competition that Youlan won 2 years ago. So now we have entered December in the remarkably varied and distinctive Wednesday concerts comprising the first virtual season of Downtown Music. And a quick reminder in this season of giving, as you watch these free programs, perhaps you'll feel inspired to do the equivalent of putting a contribution in the collection basket when you were attending concerts at Grace Church. Just go to the website, dtmusic.org, click on the donate button, and gain the satisfaction of knowing that you're now a partner in the Downtown Music presentations. Speaking of which, next week, a holiday cabaret comes to town as singer and swing-era band leader Kimberly Hawkey is joined by jazz pianist David Budway. You'll get a kick out of the songs by Cole Porter and the Gershwins, and then swirl into the holiday season with Christmas favorites and even a lighting of the 8 Hanukkah candles. So have a great week, and then come back to have yourself a merry little downtown hour with Kimberly and David. I'm Bob Sherman. See you then.